Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Decoding Gaming Law. I'm your host, Franklin, Head of Legal at BDO Malta. Today our guest is the Chief Executive Officer of the Malta Gaming Authority, Charles Mizzi. Thank you, Charles, for joining for this episode. And I'm going to jump into our first question. I think you're quite known in the industry now, so not much of an introduction is needed. So the first question is about vision and the mandate of the Malta Gaming Authority. How has the MGA strategic vision evolved in the past few years? And what are the MGA's top priorities for the future?
First of all, thank you, Franklin, for this opportunity. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you today. So MGA's vision, I would say, has evolved quite a lot over the years. It's all, I would say, attributed to the industry per se. We're now in a maturity phase, so we're no longer in a phase where we were attracting big numbers in terms of new licensees.
You seek more quality.
Exactly. Doesn't mean that we're not attracting numbers. In fact, we're happy to say that this year we're seeing an upward trend in new gaming license applications. But as you rightly said, now we're focusing more on quality rather than quantity. So obviously, the strategic vision of the MGA has to focus on reaching our goals, on having on sustaining the industry. So that is where our focus now is lying. We're focusing more on creating like a sort of a home of operators of goodwill, so to speak. Operators that have transparency, accountability, and heart. And we make sure that we provide the right environment for them to continue flourishing. We obviously don't do this alone. As you probably know, we work very closely also with Gaming Malta. It's like our sister company, so to speak. We work hand in hand in order to provide the right ecosystem for the operators.
For our listeners, just briefly explain, what is Gaming Malta?
Gaming Malta is like let's say the marketing arm of the MGA. It's a separate entity run by different people. We focus on the regulatory aspect. Gaming Malta focus more on the promotional arm.
Okay.
So, they do a lot of work in promoting the industry and providing the necessary support for the industry in Malta, just so to speak. They help them, for example, when it comes to recruitment and getting work permits, for example. They provide this kind of support of added value. Obviously, our main focus is that of being the regulator.
The regulator.
We take care of the regulatory aspect, and we make sure that all the operators abide by all the regulations, procedures,
compliance. Exactly.
So I would say the shift has changed. The dynamics has changed, and now we are focusing more on sustainability. Obviously, this doesn't mean that we do not look at opportunities for business growth and expansion. And our main challenge is to find specifically that right balance between being business friendly and at the same time abide by our goal of being sort of a good regulator.
Exactly. And I believe as well, when it comes to being the regulator, you do interact with other regulators from other jurisdictions as well. How is that experience? I think Malta has always been at the forefront of gaming law and gaming regulation. And I think now jurisdictions are implementing their own licensing regime. Do you assist other countries in that respect?
Yes, we do. We do engage with other regulators. There are different instances where this happens. Obviously, we participate in different fora like GREF, IAGR, and that gives us the opportunity to meet regulators, to establish a relationship with them, and to share experience.
Exactly.
Over time, we signed a lot of MOUs with these regulators. Sometimes we also send our people to do working experiences with them, and vice versa. We also receive host employees from other regulators. We engage in for both formal and informal discussions with them. We do engage in quite a number of discussions. We consistently receive requests from other jurisdictions, both EU and non-EU as well, where they seek our help, seek our guidance, we can share our experiences, and we find this quite healthy.
Yes.
Both for us and also for the industry in general, because I think we can all learn something new from each other.
For sure, definitely. So the next theme and question, we're going to speak about something which is very vogue and I think very important, and we've discussed it as well in other episodes. The balancing of innovation and regulation. I think innovation back in 2018, when the virtual financial asset regulation started and the innovative technology arrangements such as blockchain was something that gaming operators were very interested in. In fact, the MGA issued the sandbox regime, and that sort of is a step to welcome innovation for gaming operators wanting to plug in virtual or digital assets or crypto assets. Now we've moved further along with the popularity of artificial intelligence, AI. So how does the MGA strike a balance between encouraging innovation such as the use of AI in the gaming sector and enforcing strict regulatory oversight?
To be frank, I think it's quite easy in the sense that we believe that actually innovation can help regulatory oversight. We encourage that. Even our regulatory framework is technology neutral. We had the experience which you made reference to, DLTs, VFAs. We don't impose any strict regulations. It's technology neutral, so we encourage operators to come forward with new ideas, and our aim is to embrace those ideas and actually sort of take all the possible opportunities that arise from these developments. As you rightly said, the industry is quite very dynamic.
Yes, very fast moving.
Very fast moving. So we have to facilitate that. We have to ride on these opportunities, and that's why we adopt this stance. It also has obviously its benefits. It helps us as well. These innovations help us in our day-to-day tasks, especially AI, for example. It's obviously something that we are actively looking into, especially for our authority, which so we run it on it's data driven. So we are data driven. It definitely helps us to gather as much information as possible and helps us make more informative decisions. So I would say that innovation and regulatory oversight actually go hand in hand.
Exactly, and it's good to hear that the regulator welcomes and embraces innovation, especially from gaming operators, because Europe, especially in Europe, the AI Act is something which it's almost very difficult to comply with, even though not yet enforced. And it's a situation where technology such as AI is moving so fast that then regulation is very difficult to keep up with such technology. But it's nice to hear, I think also for our listeners, that we have a regulator, a very strong regulator such as the MGA, which is welcoming this kind of innovative technology and AI into the systems, which I believe it has a lot of benefits as well, especially in compliance. And that moves us on to the next question, the culture of compliance. What initiatives has the MGA taken to foster a proactive compliance culture rather than a reactive one? And what I mean with reactive is sort of, it's a fact that not only the gaming industry is a high-risk industry for money laundering and financing of terrorism. However, I think Malta, after successfully being removed from the FATF grey list, it goes to show that the compliance culture is being embedded in not only in the gaming industry but across all industries. So what is the MGA doing to foster this compliance culture?
Compliance is key,
yes.
I would say. So the relationship with the operator doesn't start and end with the authorization process. It's important to have a compliance culture. And over the recent years, I think we made great strides forward, but it's an ongoing process.
Yes.
We are doing a lot, but we firmly believe that we can do much more. And I think you hit the nail on its head when you said sort of adopting a proactive approach.
Yes.
Because I would say taking a reactive approach is quite easy. So I think the challenging part is being proactive. And we are doing this, I would say, mainly through an ongoing communication process with the operators. We engage with them both during thematic reviews and full scope reviews that we do, but also whenever there is a trigger that sort of there is anything that needs to be tackled. We firmly believe in this aspect because obviously it helps to avoid future problems. From our side, we're also refining our supervisory approach, adopting a risk-based approach because we believe it's both efficient and effective.
Exactly.
Efficient in the sense that obviously you allocate the resources where the problems are.
I think it must be proportionate as
well,
based on the risk associated, of course. And with respect to thematic reviews, I gather from sort of the spirit of the MGA is that the MGA is a very welcoming regulator, but then again, it is a regulator, so
yes.
It has certain responsibilities such as regulatory oversight. But I think, would you agree with me that sort of the regulator is not there out to get you? If you do your things properly, if the gaming operator does the things properly and in line with the regulation, then there should be no problem with a thematic review. What is your experience in that, and what would sort of your advice would be to regulate to gaming operators when it comes to thematic reviews?
I would say that the most important thing is for the operators to be upfront with us.
Transparent.
To be transparent with the regulator, so that whenever sort of they are facing any possible issues, they would approach us and we try to find a solution. Because as you said, sort of at the end of the day, we are the regulator, and if we see sort of anything which is not going well, need to take enforcement measures. But obviously, we're not there to get the operators. We're there to support the operators, and it is possibly something that it differentiates us from other jurisdictions, from other regulations. The fact that we adopt a very open communication policy, and this helps to nurture a very strong relationship with our operators. But at the same time, we are the operator, and obviously we need to make sure that everyone is abiding by the law and by the regulations. But I would say yes, the most important thing is to have to be transparent and comply with all the regulations which we put out there.
Exactly. Charles, we're nearing the end. So as concluding remarks, as a concluding question, which please note, this is the final episode for this season of Decoding Gaming Law. So it's going to be a legal question. When it comes to gaming law, Maltese gaming law, do you see it change? As in, of course, there's going to be amendments. Of course, there will be improvements. But do you see it a legal overhaul, such as it happened in the past, back in, I forgot exactly when, but
2018.
Exactly. Or do you see it just amending the existing laws? What is your take on that?
No, at the moment there are no big changes on the cards. So yes, we are looking at amendments, fine-tuning, and it comes also from feedback we receive from operators.
Exactly.
Because as you most probably know, we engage with stakeholders very regularly on an informal and formal basis. We obviously take all recommendations that they provide on board, and obviously as a result of this, we need to keep the law as a live document.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, and yes, we will be making some fine tuning, nothing major, and nothing urgent and imminent. So it's just fine tuning.
Exactly.
But no, there are no big changes unless there is anything which happens unexpectedly tomorrow. There is nothing major on.
That's good to hear, in actual fact. So Charles, thank you very much for joining us on this finale. And hopefully in the next season, maybe we can invite you again.
I will gladly.
It will be our utmost pleasure. So thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you.